being called a desperate attempt to save a dying series, to the outraged reactions from former cast members like Patti LuPone. Here's why everyone's saying that Kim K's American Horror Story debut will ruin the series. You have to admit, it's kinda sus that they're even doing this, even though the series has seen a stunning fall from grace over the past decade. To be fair, not that many shows managed to last 12 years on the air, and to its credit, American Horror Story was initially hailed as an innovative take on the anthology genre. What's more, Ryan Murphy's decision to turn it into an anthology helped boost its popularity. Fans were bound to tune in for each season, cause they never knew what they were gonna get. It also gave returning actors the chance to explore new and interesting roles. And it's no secret that American Horror Stories racked up its fair share of regulars over the years, ranging from Peter Evans to Sarah Paulson, all the way to Lily Rabe and Frances Conroy, not to mention the iconic Jessica Lange. American Horror Story's recurring repertoire is proof of just how star-studded the performances are on the show. That's what makes Kim's casting so jarring. The show's gone from being a platform for rising stars and a chance for old guns to revive their careers, to being the kind of show that's scraping the bottom of the acting barrel. What's worse is that most fans have noted the declining quality of each subsequent season. Creator Ryan Murphy's packed schedule might have something to do with that. The guy's been really busy with countless projects, thanks to his lucrative Netflix deal. And he kinda left the show to its own devices. This forced the writers to come up with increasingly desperate ways to hold on to viewers. Each season's plot just became more generic than the last, and by this point, American Horror Story really feels like a shadow of its former self. I feel like the fourth season was when things started to go downhill, because that was when its top star, Jessica Lange, decided to move on to greener pastures. In her defense, season 4 was kinda subpar. The show went from innovative storylines to just being a mismatch of tired tropes. It seemed Ryan's been grasping at straws for years now, and season 11 brought the show its worst ratings ever. Eventually, all the best actors from the show called it quits, which led to some, let's say, creative casting choices. You see, this won't be the first time that American Horror Story has given someone an unlikely acting debut. After all, Lady Gaga was an unexpected choice for the show too, because they gave her her first ever lead performance in the 5th season. Which was mostly because they needed someone with massive star power to replace Lange, considering she'd been the face of the show for its initial run. Some called it a shameless marketing gimmick, but Lady Gaga absolutely owned the role. So much so that she won a Golden Globe for her performance. Now, this didn't do much to boost the show's flagging ratings, but it proved that Ryan Murphy knows how to pick his cast. The thing is, Kim K's casting is a bit different from Lady Gaga's. Sure, you could say that it's in the same vein, namely because it's a surprise casting decision meant to generate some buzz for the show's 12th season. But at the end of the day, Kim K's just not in the same league as Lady Gaga. For one thing, she's never had a major role in a scripted show before. The bulk of her so-called acting work comes from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't exactly scream Golden Globe material to me. Okay, Kim's technically been in a few scripted films before, but that was stuff like Disaster Movie, which was such an awful film that I doubt anyone even remembers it. She followed this up by appearing in a film called Temptation: Confessions of a Murderer. And let me just start off by saying it was a Tyler Perry film. That alone should tell you how bad it was. Any guesses as to how it turned out? Well, Kim K ended up winning an award, but it wasn't an Oscar or a Golden Globe. It was a Razzie Award for Worst Actress. If this were anyone else, anyone with actual acting skills, I'd be taking a completely different view of her, especially given the precedent set by Lady Gaga's spectacular season 5 performance. But this is Kim Kardashian we're talking about. You can imagine the kinds of reactions people had. Fans were absolutely furious about the announcement, and they tweeted up a storm to make sure they got the word out. I totally get where they're coming from. Kim K's not exactly the most talented actress out there, if you can even call her an actress in the first place. Some fans went on to say that they weren't going to be watching this season, which kind of goes against what Murphy was trying to do here. Fan reactions range from shock and dismay to outright ridicule, with one hardcore fan pointing out just how stark the contrast is between Lange and Kardashian, and another saying that literally nobody asked for anything like this. A few other diehards hoped that Kim K's character would get killed off in the first episode, which is actually fairly likely, given her glaring lack of acting experience. That begs the question, why did Murphy hire her at all? Well, I can tell you the reason, but you're not gonna like it. It was literally just because of her Saturday Night Live appearance. If you were lucky enough to miss that episode, I seriously envy you. Because let me tell you, it was rough. From the very first scene, it was clear that she'd been told exactly what to do. Yet despite that, she still had all the charisma of a fish out of water. Okay, maybe I'm being a little mean here. Kim managed to get through her monologue without messing up her lines, and she seemed to be a good sport about all of it. But what I really don't get is why Murphy was impressed by it. Like the guy's worked with Kathy Bates for Pete's sake. You'd think he'd know good acting when he sees it. All this makes it seem like the 12th season will be straight up trash. Although there is some hope yet. Because Emma Roberts is coming back for her 6th appearance. And Kim's gonna need all the help for her that she can get. You see, Roberts knows how the show works. She's been in 5 seasons of American Horror Story so far. And she also happens to be an underrated actress in her own right. So if anyone can save the show, it's her. After all, she's been in some of the best storylines the show's ever had, starting with Season 3, aka Coven, where she played an arrogant witch with telekinetic powers. There's a lot to suggest that Kim's gonna lean on her co-star to get her through. But regardless, there's only so much that Emma can do here, especially when she's saddled with the queen of all Nepo babies. Kim K's casting could have been played off for laughs, but the signs clearly point to this being a last-ditch effort to breathe new life into the show. Now, there's absolutely no info about her character as of yet, so we just can't tell what role she'll play in the season. However, what we do know is what the story's based on. It's an adaptation of a book named Delicate Condition that explains why the season's titled Delicate. What's weird is that the book hasn't even been released yet, although we do have a synopsis to work with. Basically, the story involves a pregnant woman who's trying to save her child from some evil spiritual entity. Sound familiar? That's cause it's a total ripoff of Rosemary's Baby. Now, before you cry plagiarism, the story's a very intentional tribute to the iconic horror film, and it tries to retell a similar story with more feminist undertones. That actually doesn't sound too bad in my humble opinion, and with Emma Roberts in the lead role, I can see it working out better than we'd hoped. However, it seemed like Murphy's own former colleagues aren't too happy about this decision, like Patti LuPone, for example. She has 3 Tony Awards to her name, along with a couple Grammys for good measure. And she's also appeared in 3 seasons of American Horror Story. When she was asked to comment on Kim K's hiring, LuPone didn't hold back. She went on the record to say how much she despises Kim K, and it's not just a personal grudge either. Patti feels like Kim K's stealing the role from a more deserving actor, and she's not alone in feeling this way. John Leguizamo was in the studio when she made these comments, and he agreed with her in no small terms. To top it all off, even Sharon Stone decided to chime in, pointing to how much work she and her colleagues have put into their profession, and how Kim's hiring kinda does them a disservice. I gotta say, their frustration is rather justified. They spent decades honing their craft. As for Kim, most people would agree that she hasn't done a thing to earn a major role like this. So from the outraged reactions of superstars like Patti LuPone, to the painfully obvious marketing gimmick it's shaping up to be, this was everything you need to know about Kim Kardashian's American Horror Story debut.